What is going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back. We are talking to Beneil Dariush, one of the standout lightweights in the Ultimate Fighting Championships. Exciting yet complicated lightweight division. Welcome back, Benny. How are you?
Feeling good, brother. How are you?
Good, but oof, I felt like I took a body shot, or at least on your behalf, when they made the announcement this past weekend that Charles Oliveira, will be fighting Islam Makhachev for the vacant lightweight title. I really thought you were in that running and that you had a good shot at being one of the two. So how did you feel?
I kind of knew they were trying to set up Islam and Charles. The only thing I guess I don't know if I was hoping for it, but like I knew if Charles did hold out for Connor, then they would make Islam and I for the belt. But he didn't hold out for Connor. He decided to fight um, Islam in Abu Dhabi. So that's the only thing. But I'm not too like shocked about it or thrown off. Um, Now I'm just wondering about uh, what's next, basically. The UFC, obviously, we asked the UFC for Dustin Poirier, and it's not really clear. Like, I don't know if Dustin turned me down or the UFC never even asked Dustin because, a guy like me, let's be honest, I'm not like a superstar, and the scary thing about me is I pretty much eat stars is what I do. I eat the star and I don't become a star, so it's a little bit of a tricky situation. So it's possible they didn't even ask him. So if I could, I'd like to ask Dustin, like, hey, did they actually offer you the fight and you turned it down, or did they never even offer it?
Are you a DM type of guy, or
Uh,
asked through intermediary, like that
I,
type of question, or?
I don't care. I'm just that's the only thing I'm wondering about. Ultimately, like it's just who's next. Like that's all I care about. I do just want to fight, so I'm not too worried about it. But the fight that made most sense was Dustin Poirier, and that's not happening.
You know, here's the disappointing part: is you were talking about these stars that you eat. Your fights are exciting. Like everything you throw is heavy artillery. Like you snap the jab, you'll kick it like it's the penalty kick at a World Cup. I mean, like you want to put it through the net. And you can grapple. You can, if it goes on the ground, you're going for submissions. I mean, the incredible work that you and Rafael Cordero have put in to make you such a lethal striker is amazing. And even the times that you've dropped a fight, even those have been amazing. Like I felt like Makhachev had two things going against him. One, he hadn't faced the type of talent you had for so long, and two, it seemed like he had maybe, I don't know if pissed off is the right term. The UFC back in earlier in the year when I think he said he might step in for a fight, but then no, and seemed like Dana was a little put off by that, and he wasn't going to put him in the title shot. That's why I thought you were really, really going to get it. But we'll move on from that because they already decided on the other match, and so now it's Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev, and apparently Oliveira is going to get Oliveira is going to get pay-per-view points. I don't know if he would have gotten them if he sat out for Connor for no title, but Dana White kind of clarified that, so maybe that went into his decision. Like a lot of things, I was filling in a lot of questions or answers I had to some of the questions that were out there. But now Nate Diaz as an opponent in Hamzat Shemaev, and I thought that might clear up the Dustin situation, but you kind of answered that before we even got into it.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, let's forget about what this, what that, maybe this, maybe that. Who do you want now that we know at least some fighters are out of the picture? Who do you want? And guess what, Benny? Here's another thing. I don't think you have to fly halfway around the world. That card's filling out nicely over there in Abu Dhabi. So you know what I mean? Like I feel like you could still push for September if you wanted it, or just focus on New York in November.
Yeah. So let's see. Michael Chandler is definitely a no-no. I know Justin wants to fight like end of the year or next year, and I don't really want to wait that long. And I'd rather fight Justin for the belt. Like I don't like get excited to train to fight Justin. I know him. He's an awesome guy, and he's a buddy of mine. So it's not like I get excited to fight him. Um, So who does that leave us with? It's really just Fiziev and Gamrot. Those are the only two options left. So that's what we're looking at right now. I know Fiziev has a broken nose, and I think he just did surgery, so he's set back. So most likely it's going to be Gamrot, I think. So now we just got to see um, the dates and what they want to do with that, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. But you prefer fighting stateside, right? Or do you like going overseas?
I like stateside for sure. I do, but like the good thing about going to Abu Dhabi is, let's say Islam or Charles doesn't show up, I would be
Mm,
the number one replacement guy. So it would be worth it to go to Abu Dhabi just because of that.
got it. All right. So maybe that's where knowing that you would take someone behind you in the rankings because your focus is more on the situation that might unfold and you might catch a break and fight for the title.
Yeah, I mean, my focus is obviously whoever's in front of me, but um, I just have to be ready for all situations.
I'm thinking a couple times I've heard it from different people that it looks like Chandler and McGregor could be mixing it up at the beginning of the year. And I still think that leaves Dustin without an opponent. So I think he'll circle back. For some reason, man, something's telling me Dariush versus Dustin Poirier is going to happen. Um,
Not feeling it. I think if anything, it would be Dustin Poirier, Justin Gagey. They'll do a
again?
rematch on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because like I've come to not like I haven't been in the top five that long, but I've come to realize their ideal situation is just fight each other, because if they keep fighting each other, they don't lose their rankings. So I've come to figure that out. Took me a while, but I kind of figured it out. And I'm not trying to stay in this business just so I can stay in the top five or whatever. I want to fight the best guys in the world. So I just want to line them up. Whoever's the best in the world, let's get them lined up. Let's go.
And just to be clear, would you also just be the substitute in Abu Dhabi, not necessarily fighting someone? Because again, I know at least puts money in your pocket.
Yeah, but it's not like it's a huge amount of money, and like I haven't fought in a year, so that it's not. I understand it's money's money, but like fighting's better. So I'd much rather fight. I would definitely want to have an opponent instead of just waiting. I can't see myself waiting till October with no guarantees of a fight. It's with a maybe. So it's not an ideal situation for me.
Benny, that scenario of being possibly of having an opponent, but if it were to fall out, the main event, you slipping in, all the work that you've put in, all the time, I'm sure that would be like a stressful moment. Would that be a decision made right then and there, like when the belt's put in front of you, you do it, or would you sit down and maybe think that one over a little bit?
I'd definitely do it. I mean, I train hard. I don't like 3 round fight, 5 round fight. It's never made a difference to me. I always train for 5 rounds. Every single time I spar, it's 5 rounds, sometimes more. It's it just there wouldn't be. I don't see an issue with doing 5 rounds, and I don't. You know, once you get to the like elite guys in 55, they all know how to grapple, they all know how to strike, they can do it all. So it's getting ready for one guy, you're pretty much getting ready for everybody else. And at the end of the day, it's just, if you're the best, you're the best. It's not going to matter who's in front of you.
When the title shot does come around, who do you think will be up there? Who do you think will be in front of you?
It's so close, man. I'm leaning towards Islam, but Charles could definitely pull it off. He's so aggressive, he could definitely pull off a victory. And I know people are calling it upset, but I wouldn't consider it upset. I would say it's like just a pick'em fight, because how aggressive Charles is and how defensive Makhachev is. It's a really intriguing matchup. It's going to be who finds their distance first and who's able to implement their game plan. And when I say distance, for example, Charles is going to come forward throwing heavy things, but are those heavy things going to land? And then for Makhachev, is he going to find the distance to grab him, to hold him, and to make sure he has him in the positions that he wants him? And that's really going to be the fight, finding your distance to make your moves count.
Benny, I've never asked you this, but was there ever a point in your life, because just in meeting you and talking to you, I would never think you were a fighter, you know? And if people that went to high school with you and all that, if you had a high school reunion and you go, this is what I do, would they all go, oh yeah, that makes sense? Or would they go, really? That, like, is it shocking? Like, what do your friends and family say about the career? I'm sure a lot of people are always hitting you up.
No, in high school they would have said that definitely makes sense. I got kicked out of one high school, and then in the other high school I was much better at hiding it. So a lot changed when I became a devout Christian. It's like I always tell people, by nature I'm a savage, but by grace I'm a servant. So I think that's what people don't understand. I wasn't always like this. Actually, the easiest thing for me is fighting. Still, it's just something that comes naturally, whether it's arguing or just generally physically fighting. It's always easier for me to get in fights, but it's harder to be patient and be kind and all that stuff. So I have to work hard to be kind, but I can fight. Just it's easy. You can, like Marvin called me last night. He's like, "Can we spar?" I was like, "Yeah, we can spar. Let's go." It's not an issue for me, but being kind, that's a little bit more tricky.
Hey, Benny, if you don't mind me prying a little bit, like, I just can't picture you any other way. Like, what do you remember the exact moment when you said, hey, I need to change my life? And what is it that, like, a lot of people do that and they can change for a while, but they kind of go back? You've kind of just become another person.
It wasn't like overnight kind of deal. It was gradual. It was one of those things where like I was almost like wrestling with God. I just kept going back and forth. I want to do this thing my way, and he'd be like, there's no compromise with me. We're doing it all my way. It's gonna be my way, or it's not gonna work. And so the more I started to see that, the more I had to recognize that his way was the better way. The more I kind of realized, okay, I need to start practicing this kindness thing. I need to recognize it's really hard to put yourself in other people's shoes, but I started to try to do that as often as I can, and so that's really where it comes from. It's just always trying to put myself in other people's shoes, and just recognizing that's the heart of God. So, and that's really Christianity. That's the heart of Jesus. So that's why I always try to do that.
Since Go's got to pry, I want to pry now. Tell me the story that got you kicked out of high school.
I don't know. Some kid was making, so this 9/11 happened, right? It was 2001, and it was 2004 or 2005. I think it was 2004. I was in high school, and like Middle Eastern jokes were very popular, and this kid wasn't even that bad. He was just making a joke. It was probably a funny joke, but I was very insecure at the time, because everybody was hyping up the whole like, hey, they're treating Middle Eastern people bad. So I was really insecure. I was like, oh, I gotta make sure I defend myself. He said some stupid joke, and I was like, all right, if I let this go, everybody else is gonna start picking on me. So I stepped up, and then we ended up getting in a fight. He looked a lot worse than I did, so I ended up getting kicked out. And then I went to Valencia High School, and then Valencia High School was, I would say, predominantly Mexican and Asian. So I was a little bit easier for me, but I don't know, just that was it. But then we had the Mexican gangs or at least they were gangster wannabes who I'd getting a few tussles with here and there. That was kind of my high school life. I didn't really do sports. I did soccer, but I sucked at it, and then I wrestled for a couple of months. The last year of my senior year, basically, and I just really liked wrestling. I was like, oh, but maybe I can try jujitsu. So I started doing jujitsu a little bit before school ended when I turned 18.
Did Valencia kick you out, or you went to Valencia after getting kicked out?
I went to Valencia after getting kicked out of Esperanza. So I spent Valencia, and it was chill. It was a cool school. I had a good time there. A couple of fights here and there, but we we didn't let the school know this time. We were smart. Yeah. Let's just say you get smarter after they tell you, hey, you get kicked out again. We don't know what we're gonna do with you.
What did your family think of, you kind of standing up for a sensitive time, and the fact that the kid probably cracked the shitty joke, where did they let it slide, or you get in some
My mom
trouble?
didn't care at all. She was so pissed at me. My mom is like the softest person. She doesn't like. She thinks fighting is like ridiculous. She loves the drama. It's funny. She loves the drama of the UFC, but she thinks fighting is not, the ideal thing. So my whole life, my mom and my grandma try to make me like more caring and more soft. Honestly, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't even be here. I'd probably be in jail or something because I was always a little bit rough around the edges, always trying to get in fights. So if it wasn't my mom and my grandma, I'd probably be, I don't know where I would be. I wouldn't be here. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. I kept asking about the high schools because, as you know, we're from Southern California, so I was trying to kind of connect the dots. I'm familiar with certain pockets in OC that are predominantly this way or that way or whatever. Whites, minorities, or of different types, or rich and poor. There's so many different reasons that kids in high school can have these, possible insecurities or cliques or whatever. But
It
your
was
fight, when it took place, was it like immediate, like in a classroom, or was it like Jack in the Box, 3
right, outside,
p.m.
right,
and the
right
school's
outside the
going?
classroom. He said something in the classroom, right outside the classroom. I said I can't let him get away with it. If I let him get away with it, it's gonna be, it's gonna get worse for me. But in reality, it was just a funny joke. Honestly, the kid wasn't even that bad. I was just really insecure, and I
Yeah.
love to just get in fights. So it was definitely more my fault. And the poor kid, he got his butt whooped. So like, um, it wasn't
Would
even, I
would you
don't.
throw a nice 1-2 or a judo toss, or
I think I just threw as many punches as I could in those 30 seconds that I got a chance at him. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't learn how to fight till after high school, so it's not like I knew what I was doing.
so it was like Phil Baroni against Dave Beneil? You just kind of lit him up.
That's it. That's the best way to put it.
Um, do any of these guys that you fought, did you happen to keep in touch with them, and are they fans of your career now?
No, in high school, no. I thought you
No.
meant UFC. I was gonna say, oh, me and Drew always talk. He's a cool guy. But no, not in. Shoot, not that I can think of. No, but I got a couple of buddies from high school. We've always stayed close. Like that hasn't changed. But
Yeah.
no, I didn't. I didn't keep in touch with the guys I got in fights with. I don't
I've
think.
I've heard of that before, where someone will reach out to a fighter. Yeah, man, you kicked my ass, but hey, now I can say so and so kicked my ass, and so that's why I was wondering. But have you been to any of the reunions that Goes even mentioned, or
I went to I went to the 10-year reunion, but we didn't stay long because my buddies, we already see each other like on a regular basis. The guys,
yeah,
like, we stayed for a little bit, and then one of my buddies was really drunk, so I had to get him out of there. So I grabbed him and we headed out.
yeah, and but people knew you were a fighter then at the
Oh
10
yeah,
year?
10-year reunion. Yeah, they definitely knew.
Yeah. All right.
I was babysitting at my 10-year reunion because everybody was like coming up trying to talk to me, but then I got one of my buddies. He's really drunk, and all my other buddies are just like laughing at him, and they don't care. I'm like, no, 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 we got to get this guy. I was really worried about him, so I think did we take? No, we didn't take him. We just took him back to the hotel and let him lay down and just.
Oh, I thought you were worried that he was going to get in a fight. Okay, I
No,
got
I
you.
was worried. Like he was really bad. Like not alcohol poisoning, but he was puking a little bit. So we just wanted to make sure he stays hydrated. So we got him back a bunch of Gatorades, and he just it was a mess. The whole night was a mess, and I felt like I was babysitting. But that was kind of common in my short college lived career.
Got it. One name we didn't mention, we'll close with this. Alexander Volkanovski, when the fight between Ortega and Yair took off, he kind of did the little eyes, like
Yeah.
I'm peeking, I'm whatever, because obviously he's looking for a number one contender. But then he did an interview this week where he stated he wants the winner of Oliveira and Islam Makhachev. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, wait, they're not fighting till October. He's got the hand to address. But if I'm being kind, I do the rankings for MMA Junkie and USA Today, and I see you guys. Not many fighters fight more than twice a year, but I'm going to be kind and say 3 times a year, which would be every 4 months. So that would mean if the win on best schedule possible, whoever wins on October 22nd, if they're ready to go by 4 months later, so what's that? February 22nd, and that guy's ready to go against Alex, which is what he wants to do. Then Alex says he'll then defend featherweight, which now puts him at, I guess, June 22nd or something like that. It just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like it never works out that somebody's going to defend both belts. It's super, super rare. And when they do it, it's not like they do it right away. But regardless, he threw his name out there. He is 25-1, tip of the hat. He is 11-0 in the UFC, tip of the hat. 4 title defenses, all that. I get it. But where do you think he fits into this? Is he kind of making you a little nervous that he might delay Benny's title shot one day?
Nervous isn't the right word. What I would say is, listen, being a double champ, cool on paper, but then you got to defend both belts, and both divisions are super busy. So like this position you want, I don't think it's what you think it is. Like if you want to leave the 45 and come to 55, I think great idea. But I think if you want to do both weight classes, I don't think you're going to be defending the belt as much as you think. And also 55 is just a different beast, I think it'll be a whole different thing he has to deal with. Like, look at Conor. He came to 55. Obviously, they just threw him right in there, and stylistically, he matched up really well with Eddie Alvarez. But after that, I don't think he's ever won a fight since at 55. Because I think even Cerrone was at 170.
Yeah, Cerrone, Poirier, and I guess that's been Nate, the Nate back-to-backs that he's done. Those were before Eddie Alvarez.
He lost to Habib. He lost to Nate.
Habib, yeah.
Beat Nate at 70. He beat Cerrone at 70. I'm telling you, 55 is a different beast. So I mean, if he wants to come up, welcome. We'll get it all figured out. I'm not worried about him. I love the competition. I would love to fight one of the best ever. So as far as competition goes, I love it. As far as figuring out who goes first, we'll deal with that when we get there.
Could you do 45? Is that even possible? No. Okay.
Like I'm in pretty good shape right now. 180.
Okay. Would you do 170, or is that just too big?
170 is definitely more doable than 145, and I wouldn't mind doing 170. It's just at this rate we're having so much success at 55. It doesn't make sense to move up, but who knows? Maybe one day.
Thank you so much for chatting with us today. We really, really appreciate it. We always hope for the best for you, and whatever that might be, we can't wait to chat with you about it once there's a fight booking in front of us. Right now, it's just fun throwing out names.
Yeah. Thanks, boys. I appreciate the call. You guys have a great day.